In today's video, we will learn about what are metals and non-metals. So, the chemical element is a pure chemical substance that is consisting of a single type of atoms distinguished by its atomic number. And here also, as of now, 118 elements have been identified. Now, elements are mainly divided into metals and non-metals. Familiar examples of metals are like iron, aluminium, copper, zinc, mercury, lead, etc. And the familiar example of non-metals are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, etc. Right? Here, beside these, there are certain elements which shows the property of both metal and non-metals, right? Like boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium. So these are known as the metalloids that have the property of both metals and non-metals. Now talking about what are metals. So basically the metals are any of a number of elements that are often lustrous, ductile, malleable, solid, good conductor of heat and electricity and forms positive ion by losing electrons. Right here, approximately three quarter of the all non-chemical elements are metals. Here also, the most abundant metal in the earth crust is aluminium, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Right in the decreasing abundance. Here, the maximum abundance is of aluminium. Now, metals are widely used in our daily life, right? For cooking utensils, car, buses, trains, ships, aeroplanes. These all things are made up of metals, and the list is unending. Now, metals such as gold, silver, platinum are used in making jewelries. Metals like titanium, chromium, manganese, zircon, etc. are classified as strategic metals as these metals are essential for a country's economy, right? Also, traces quantity of some metals like copper, iron, cobalt, magnesium, sodium, potassium, zinc are essential to humans, plants, and animal health. Here, many metals are important in our biological functioning and enzyme formation in our body. Now, here are such also metals that are very radioactive, such as uranium and plutonium, that are used in nuclear reactors and nuclear weapons. Now, after this, moving towards what are the non-metals. So basically, these are chemical elements which mostly lacks of the characteristic properties of a metal. Those are called the non-metals. Here we have around 22 non-metals in the all non 118 elements. Now some example of non-metals are phosphorus, sulfur, bromine, oxygen, chlorine, etc. Right? Here non-metals are very important to us to make up most of the matter in the universe and most of the living beings. Now almost all living organisms are composed almost entirely of non-metal atoms such as carbon, because we know that most of the organic things are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, right? Here oxygen is essential for survival of the living organism and oxygen is the most abundant non-metal, right? Like the metal is that is most abundant is aluminium and the most abundant non-metal is oxygen, right? Now the air we breathe, the water we use, carbon dioxide that provides life to plant, and the plastic we employ is the different forms or examples of non-metals. Now talking about the comparison of physical properties of metals and non-metals. So moving ahead in this, so first physical property is the physical state. So metals are generally solid at room temperature and non-metals are liquid or sometimes gases at room temperature, right? Here metal shows the property of lustrous, that means they have a very shiny surface, but lead has a dull surface. Here non-metals are very dull in appearance except the diamond that is lustrous. Now talking about hardness, the metal are generally hard while non-metals are generally soft. Malleability, basically it is the property by which metal can be converted into thin sheets. So metals have this property but solids non-metal do not have this property. Now talking about ductility, so metals are very ductile, that means they can be converted into thin wires while non-metals are not ductile. Talking about the brittleness, so metals are generally hard but not brittle, right? But solid non-metals are brittle, right? So this is the difference between their physical properties. Now these are the density, sonority. So metals are very dense while non-metals are not so dense. Sonority basically is the property by which metals can produce sound on striking with a hammer. So non-metals do not have the property of sonorous. Now here the melting and boiling point of metal are very high while non-metal have very low melting and boiling point. Also the electrical conductance is present in metals only while non-metals are not so conductor except graphite, because graphite has free electron to conduct electricity. Here also the thermal conduction is present in metals while non-metal do not conduct heat also. So I hope this topic is now clear to you. Thank you.